Hello and welcome back to TNN's coverage of the world's 9 best fantasy football players league. I'm your host, and this is what we have for you this week. Last week saw a new trade shock the league as Kaiser White was swapped for a second-round pick and is now headed over to Team Big Chungus 22. TNN reached out to both teams for comment. And now, here is Brett to spin the wheel for the Survivor Pool. And now, here is Danny Football with his picks for Week 8. Hey, what's up, guys? The world's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Last week, pretty good for me. Another week going 4-2. Bringing my total on the year up to a very nice 25-17. My guest Will also had a nice week, but not nice enough to beat the expert, going 3-3, meaning he was not able to beat the expert, and will have to try to beat me again next year. But now, it's a new week, there's a new guest, and a new chance to beat the expert. So guest, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's up, guys? I'm Grayson. I'm the owner of the Texarkana Bandits, the most profitable franchise in the league. Proud members of the SEC, currently leading in the toughest division. What can we say?
It just means more.
Just means more.
Yeah, Grayson, very happy to have you on the show. As I'm sure you and the loyal fans may know, I've been high on the Bandits, so it's always great to have you on and get the inside scoop here on TNN for what's going on over there in Bandit Land.
All good things in Bandit Land, except for my boy JJ.
Yeah.
moment of silence for JJ. All right, thank you. That was what the show needed.
All right, in our first matchup, we have Team M Vanek taking on the Coochie Gang. Who currently favored very narrowly in this one at 51%. These are two teams coming off some not so great performances last week. I think probably all of the praise that I just been heaping on Team M Vanek over the last couple of weeks may have gotten to his head. I've been talking up their team, saying they could be contenders, commending their draft strategy, and now they're sitting at 4-3 and got to fight for their lives to make the playoffs. Something to watch out is whatever happened to Bijan in that game last week. I know a lot of fantasy players, a lot of gamblers, a lot of NFL fans were very upset with that one. So, something to look out for. I think Mike Vanek would be justified in going and taking the pitchforks over to Arthur Smith's house. For Koo, when a big red flag for them is Dameon Pierce, who they're definitely relying on this year to be one of their top backs, potentially getting replaced by a terrible, terrible Devin Singletary. I can't imagine why anyone would want to have him on their team. Tom, the team is just, they're not up to snuff this year. I think it is time to sell. I'm going to go with Team M Vanek to turn it around and pick up the win in this one.
It's a good pick. But on this matchup, it's all about the players. And I got my eyes on two players. First one, Bijan Robinson, aka Dijon Robinson. And, I think it probably is he didn't blow enough smoke in Arthur Smith's face.
Yeah.
If we rumors are to believed, and I think he doubles down this week, and I think he lights up in practice, and he tells coach to get fucked, and I'm in on that. But it's probably going to hurt his touches. And then the second guy I'm watching is Baby Rhino, and I think this is the week for him, and I think he puts up an absurd stat line. And Tom gets this win in the lowest scoring matchup of the week.
Wow. Bold prediction there.
That's hot take.
Next up, we have the Judon Noodles taking on Team Big Chungus 22. Noodles favored at 65%. Who do you like in this matchup?
I'm a big Chungai guy,
Yeah.
I think this team, more than record, more than players, they just got intangibles that you can't replace. Uh, I think this is the week we finally see Leonard Fournette return to form.
Joey Bosa's dad's been in hiding a little bit. We'd be
He's,
happy to see him
he
come back.
hasn't put up the performances we're used to, and it says he was on a bye last week, so he's back, and I'm ready to see him put up 30, 35. Chungai take it in a landslide.
Wow. Big pick there. I like that. Very bold. This is one, look, the Noodles, they've been off to a nice start, but ever since Matthew Judon, team namesake, went down, their D-line spot has just been a real weakness for this team. I think this is a team that really needs to go out and make a big, splashy acquisition if they want to solidify their championship contender status. I think they need that big, very impressive defensive lineman, whoever that may be. For the Chung guy, there's just not much to say. They talked a big game on the show last week. So they were, going to beat the Bandits in the rivalry game, and they did not have the stuff to back it up at all. I just don't think that this Chungai team is able to hang with the best teams in this league. Certainly, at least not until Will starts paying just the tiniest bit of attention and, maybe getting some advice from the expert. I'm going to go with the Noodles to easily take care of the Chungai in this one.
It's too obvious.
Moving on, we have JK We're still Mahorny taking on Blood, Sweat, and Beers. JK favored here at 58%. Very disappointing week for both of these teams last week. JK lost a very much needed game against Slob. And Blood, Sweat, and Beers picked up a very much not wanted win against Team M Vanek. I'm starting to think that Jacob kind of just wanted to go through this season on hard mode, trading away all of his best defensive players, and he is now solidly in playoff contention. If he can somehow make this happen, I think it is going to be one of the most impressive runs we've ever seen in this league. Possibly an indictment of management mismanaging this team, but you got to respect a guy going and selling out and then still trying to win the championship. Certainly a sight to behold. For JK, I think last week may have been the final nail in their coffin. They had a pretty good showing. They were real close to that unlucky loss territory, but sitting there at 2-5 is going to be really hard to overcome. Luckily for them, it looks like Kareem Hunt may be able to be a meaningful contributor going forward. Questionable character, but great on the fantasy football field.
He's no Jerome Ford, but he's a decent guy.
He is. Look,
sorry, not a decent guy. He's a decent player. He's pretty proven to not be a decent guy.
Decent guy might be a stretch. This is someone I would expect to see over on Undefeated Never Lost, but people sleep on the fact that Joe has had some real scumbags on the team between Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon. So look, all the attention goes to Miguel and Undefeated Never Lost. I think the spotlight needs to be focused in on this team, JK. A lot of questionable characters. I think it might be what's dragging their team down this week. But I know this team wants to win. I've said before that you should always go with the team that wants to win more, and I was wrong. I said that. The pick did not work out for me. But I do not think I'm going to be wrong twice. And I'm going to go with JK to pick up the win in this one.
I don't really love either of these teams or the directions that they're trying to go, but I'm with you. It's a game of incentives. Jacob, you really need to dial it in and figure out how to lose. It's an art. I understand not everybody can do it. As someone who, pretty successfully tanked for several years, it's not as easy as it looks.
It
But
might be a good time to make a little hire over from a competing organization. I hear Danny Storts might be a great ad to, help.
generational loser.
Yeah.
That's you don't go over by trying. But I'm going to take JK here. You know, Patrick Mahomes. Not a lot of people know this. Good at football. So
Yeah.
that's a little insider scoop for you.
That's that's why fans of the show keep coming back. That's even above the experts had on that one. That I would have never thought of that. So thank you. All right, next up we have Slob taking on undefeated, never lost. Slob favored in this one at 52%. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I hate it. I don't want to watch it. If this, if this was the Sunday night game, I might do something productive with my Sunday night for the first time this season.
Speaking of, don't sleep on Bears Chargers. It's Sunday night. Going to be
that's going to be good.
Game.
I would rather I'd watch the Bears 100% before I would watch. We got Deshaun Watson and starting Jaleel McLaughlin. Love it. This is tough because I really think both of these teams are bad. I am gonna go with I'm gonna go Slob. I'm gonna go Slob on my doorknob. I don't think they're gonna good, but I think they're gonna win because one of the two teams always has to. That's what they tell me. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think like you said, hate the matchup. This is not one that my eyes want to be anywhere near. Look, we've never had a tie in league history before. Could happen. I think that this might be the one. Both of these teams
are ties allowed in league rules?
Oh yeah.
Would it? Okay, then I will go on the record. Tie is my prediction.
You know what?
I think this is the league's first tie. I'll even call it at a score of 172.43.
Okay.
Quote that. Put that on Twitter. That can be today.
Very curious how they're going to get the
tie.
0.43. Don't know how that's going to happen, but very intrigued. And you know what? I'll say this: if there's a tie in this matchup, I'll bring you back on for the playoffs, even if you go 0-5 with all the other picks.
All right.
A nice little bonus for the guest picker there. Talking about these, look, I don't need to say much about these teams. They're both bad. I think they're not statistically eliminated from the playoffs, but in my mind they are. Slav, nice win last week. They were able to keep their season somewhat alive. One of the highest scorers. For undefeated, never lost. One thing I'd like to point out here: possible revenge game for Brandon Ayuk getting traded from spot to spot this year. That carousel has finally landed with him being on undefeated, never lost. And maybe he has a big game up against Slob. I feel like I'm always just waiting for undefeated, never lost to put it all together and turn the corner. And I think I'm going to have to keep on waiting. I'm going to go with Slob in this one. Moving on, we have Ham and Throw taking on the SWAT team. SWAT favored this one at 61%. This is, great, historic, one-sided rivalry here. Ham and Throw. This is a game we know Ham and Throw always has circled on their calendar, and look, they always try to show up. They currently have Najee and Jaylen Warren in their starting lineup, which is certainly a choice. I would not want to be riding with the Steelers offense right now, but good for Ham and Throw.
Iowa East.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I think Steelers v Iowa might score more. I mean, assuming that their punt return does not get canceled by the refs, but I would take the Iowa offense there.
So here, before we get too deep into this, I didn't do a ton of research, but I did see a few interesting stats online.
Okay.
And I think this could be important here. I think I saw this on stat muse or something, but Visconti's team's ass, so that could come into play while we're picking this matchup.
Yeah,
The analytics say team is ass.
look,
So
my analytics department's been slacking recently. I have not had the math nerd on in a while to give me all the great analytics. That's good to know. I think that's really going to affect my pick, actually. I was thinking of maybe picking Hammond throw in this matchup before you told me that.
yeah,
So I think that's going to save me. Uh, yeah, I know the SWAT team, they're looking pretty beat up right now. Nick Bolton hurt wrists. It's going to be, another big hit for them. I feel like this team's kind of cursed this season. And just like all the good luck from the past 3 years has come crashing down now. And like the entire team is just getting hurt left and right. Even with that being said, though, I don't know if Hammond Throw has got the stuff to really play with the historic franchise of the SWAT team.
Here's the thing: they're not gonna beat the top 4 teams.
Certainly not.
You can't score the 5th amount of points every week and beat the top 4. It just doesn't happen. So you got that going.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the delusions from team owner Mike Visconti this week. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great moments coming up in the group chat. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the champs.
I hope I'm pointing right to some delusional thing Visconti's saying in the live chat right now. Just absolutely wrong. Oh, there it went. Shout out Danny Storts. He's always in the chat. There you go.
True. Shout out to all the historic fans. If you're here in the live chat, that's how we know you're a true fan of the show. Speaking of which,
hit me with a 100. Hit me with a 100 emoji.
Comment and subscribe and hit that bell. And give me the 100.
All right, SWAT team.
Finally, we got our marquee matchup of the week. The Texarkana Bandits taking on the Mental Brick Walls. Brick Walls currently favored at 55%. Who do you like in this matchup?
I'm never going to pick against my Bandits. That's just, we're a wagon. However, the wagon's kind of got a flat tire. We kind of hit a skid. I'm not loving who I'm having to slide in and out of the starting lineup. I have 4 IR players.
Some are saying we should expand IR.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it, but feeling the hurt. It's never been a problem for me. But ultimately, not going to pick against the Bandits. I think the Brick Wall's got a good team. It's going to be a good matchup. Must see TV, that's for sure. Yeah. When these two teams meet, points are scored. What do you think, football expert?
Look, I agree. I think this is a great matchup. The producers made it the marquee matchup for a reason. This is actually the 3rd straight marquee matchup for the Bandits, who have shown a mixed record under the lights this season, going 2-1 in the marquee matchup. Brick Walls also a frequent marquee matchup participant, undefeated, 2-0 so far this season. 2 good teams, 2 division leaders. I think this is one going to have big implications down the line. Could be playoff seeding, could be a potential first round bye. Look, fans, Grayson, I know you're a fan of the show. Fans know that I am high on the Bandits. And one thing that's not talked about enough with this Bandits team, high character guys, really great sportsmanship out of this team. In particular, Trayvon Walker knew that Big Chungus was going to have an absolute dud of a game last week. So he went out and scored only 1 point so as not to embarrass the Chung guy. That's a guy I would love to have in my locker room, if I had a team, of course. And just really a great guy all around, impact player, high character, high draft pick, face of the franchise, a real 5-tool player.
I'm glad you brought him up, actually, because we haven't talked about him a lot on the show this year.
Yeah.
And not near enough. And I've kind of been flexing him around positions, but, put him in defensive line and linebacker, just guys out. But, I mean, ultimately, he's a positionless player, and he belongs in that IDP flex spot. And I think I finally put him back where he belongs. And I think we're going to start seeing the performances that, we see on tape. Football experts see on tape. But he's more of a team guy. But we've had to sit him down and say, hey, we need you to be a little selfish. We need you to, have stats. And he seemed really receptive. I'll say, some guys aren't very coachable. He's so coachable.
He's just so respectful of the opponent, He never wants to embarrass him.
Yeah.
Very humble, doesn't want to embarrass anybody. It's what you really love to see in a guy.
But yeah, I think we'll start talking about Trayvon Walker after this week on the show. Really getting some good Trayvon content, which we haven't had yet.
I know. I might have to get the producers to start putting some tape for Trayvon, because I feel like the viewers, the loyal fans of the show, have not really gotten to appreciate the true impact. So we're gonna have to see if we can work that in, a little Trayvon tape. Look, there is another team in this matchup that I should talk about. The Brick Walls. They've been, as you said, a very solid team all year. This is a team that they haven't had too much fanfare. I feel like, people respect them, but they're not super fearful of this team. They just go out there and win. And, there's something very commendable about that. I think they're a really solid team, and one that is due for a good playoff run. But rumor has it that Brett still has not paid his league dues for this year. So I feel like I need to stand in solidarity with the commissioner here and boycott the Brick Walls. I'm going to be back on the Bandits train this week, and I am never getting off. I'm going with the Bandits in this one.
We love it.
Well, Grayson, it's been great having you on the show this week. I'm wishing you all the best of luck with your picks. Of course, not as good as me, can't beat the expert, but it's been great to have you on. And maybe we'll see you back here again at the end of the year. If that tie happens,
we'll see after the tie. That's for sure.
All right.
Parting words.
Oh yeah,
thanks for asking. The band is going to win all the way, And yeah, that's it.
And thank you, Danny Football and guest Grayson, for those great picks. That's all we have for you this time. Be sure to tune in next week to see how things shook out. I'm your host, and this has been TNN.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.